Hello, fellow humans. I am Sensei Lex, and this is my first indie game and my first video on YouTube. Um, I was just looking around Steam and I found this game called Lake of Voices. Apparently, it's supposed to be partially horror and partially storytelling in a sense. So I kind of wanted to record this and make it my first video and post it on here and see if you guys want to join me for the ride. So we're just gonna jump straight into it. By the way, I have played this game. I have played the first 20 to 30 minutes of it, but the audio was messed up. The first time I wasn't recording. So the first time I played for 10 minutes and the second time I played for 40, but the audio was messed up. So this time hopefully the audio is better, and we're just gonna jump straight into it. Choices. You will need to make various decisions throughout Lake of Voices. Here are a few details to keep in mind. Certain choices are timed. Time in running out isn't something to completely avoid. In some cases, not getting involved can open new possibilities. Other choices aren't timed. These options only determine whether Kika has any special affection for another character or not. If you survive until the second night, the story will branch into one of 5 different plot lines based on your earlier decisions. The other characters cannot manage all the situations in the various plot lines, regardless of what you do. If a character isn't making it, try getting that plot with a different set of survivors, or having the same group of characters venture through some other storyline. Becoming closer to someone can add and or remove future choice options and change how some scenes play out. Your decisions to build that connection may not go unnoticed by other characters. Earning the full amount of affection with certain characters can require getting into specific plot lines. My grip on the lantern tightens as the fog around us thickens. While the forests in this area are relatively safe compared to Senlios, I can't help but feel my hair stand on end the further we get. My free hand fingers the hilt of my sword, something akin to the nervous reflex.
Have you seen it before?
But Mel breaks the silence, either sensing my unease or asserting his own. I hope it's the latter.
I haven't. I've had no reason to go near this cursed lake until now. What have you?
But Mel scratches his chin casually as though I asked what his favorite food is.
I traveled a long way around it once before. Not so pleasant. Something about it just frays your nerves. Although, even being near it is enough.
So I'm not the only one who feels it. A sense of relief hits me, but not enough to undo the buzzing of anxiety. The lake. Sinlos. Most try their best to avoid it all their lives. The hundreds who die attempting to cross its unearthly black water dragged to death by the creatures lurking within aren't a secret.
No wonder you were assigned this mission.
There are few who've had first-hand experience with the place. Even if from a distance, he'll probably keep being picked whenever they need someone to cross, for however long he's with us. But Mel shrugs, bringing my attention back to the dark path before us.
At least we're taking the bridge this time. It'll only take 2 days instead of double that, and the sooner this place is behind us, the better.
It would be preferable not to risk it. But time is of the essence. We don't really have a choice.
One of our allied villages, Himmer, is being harassed by One of our allied villages, Himmer, is being harassed by brigaders, a band of ruffians. We don't have many guards to send it as an assist, only Bamel and myself. The least we could do is arrive before we are too late to be of any use. These kinds of squabbles happen often, but have to be put down lest they turn into a blood grudge or an all-out war. The last we heard, neither option was that far off.
I can also see why they chose you to come out here.
I glance at Bamel, an eyebrow raised. A slight smile plays across his lips.
You're always so calm and so serious. Nothing can get to you. You're the best choice they had.
A smile now tugs at my own lips. I would like to thank him, but that wouldn't be so calm and serious as he just described. And if that's how he sees me, I like to keep it that way. My lack of reaction only makes his smile grow, and he chuckles a bit before refocusing on the path. I do the same. It wouldn't be right to let my guard down in a place like this. But Mel appears to feel differently, however.
You know the town on the other side of the lake, though. It's not so similar to ours. If all goes well, perhaps we'll have enough time to enjoy the new area.
For the most part, I ignore him, nodding when applicable. But Mel is a talkative sort, and if chatting helps him keep his worries down and his sword hand ready, I have no complaints. After a time, the thick fog surrounding us begins to clear. A slick wooden dock comes into view, and with it the sounds of water gently lapping at its sides. Bamel shifts beside me, stretching his lantern arm as far as it will go. He seems tense.
Someone's already here.
A young woman stands by the dock, eyeing us wearily. Does she intend to cross tonight? Evidently, she has the same question. As we step up next to her, it's clear she isn't simply passing by. She's waiting. The stranger nods curtly at us.
Margaret.
Kika the Steadfast.
Bamele. Hello?
There's a stuffy silence. Margaret turns to gaze out across the lake, expression unclear. With not much to say, Bamel and I do the same. From here, the black surface of the lake looks disarmingly calm. Wind rushes across its surface, a sound of like whispering. Though perhaps it actually is whispering. I concentrate, trying to place the difference, searching for the breaks in rhythm. After a few seconds, I feel foolish. It doesn't matter what the noise is, whether I hear them or not. We're not alone. The Nixie are out there. A feeling that I can't quite shake tells me they already noticed a little group of people on their shores. It feels hostile. My stomach sinks, and instead I address Bamel.
Where is the guide?
Unless he's on the center island, or on the complete other side, your guess is as good as mine. It's dark as pitch out there.
Panic rises inside me. Panic I try hard to quell.
We can't cross without him, and we need to get going soon.
You can't cross with him either.
The woman behind us, Margaret, cuts in with something like a snort.
What?
I know the guide will be here tonight. I have already made arrangements with him to cross.
But Mel and I share a look. The woman seems haughty and willing to put up a fuss.
I have his word he'll take me today. It would be wiser for the two of you to begin the trip around if you're really in such a hurry. Or you can make camp here and wait for him to make the trip back if you prefer.
I don't need to turn my attention to Bamel to know he's riled up. I step in before he can say something rash.
Even if that is so, my companion and I must begin the trip tonight.
Margaret is unimpressed and opens her mouth to argue further.
We'll wait for the guide to arrive before coming to a conclusion about any of this.
She clamps her mouth shut and then lets out a sigh.
You can do as you like.
With the matter intentively settled, Bamel moves away. His finger begins to tap loudly against the top of his hilt. He shifts from one foot to another and then groans.
What's that bastard even up to?
I almost visibly start, but manage to restrain myself. He probably doesn't know any better. I'm sure of it. It's not worth mentioning.
With a mouth like that, you shouldn't even have the right to ask the guide to take you across.
How ludicrous. He's faced far worse than a bit of foul language.
Do you know anything that's happened with this lake?
I know enough.
Margaret is clearly not convinced, but she shrugs and makes a show of turning her back to him.
The guide's father is Garvin the Exemplar. Garvin never accepted the guide as his son, all the way up until he died in this lake. Your statement could be seen as tasteless.
Oh.
Bammel rubs the back of his neck, his face regretful.
My apologies to the guide. I didn't mean it that way. I never knew about his... well...
A smile spreads across my face, one I quickly wipe away. He really did just misspeak. The silence slowly stretches between the three of us, growing more awkward with each passing second. Margaret seems irritated and Bammel abashed. So, as with my other two playthroughs, I'm gonna go with Margaret in this case, because Bammel is already, with me and on my side, in a sense. So, I just kind of want to befriend Margaret right now, because I'm trying to get us all out of here, I believe, if we can. I'm trying to get us all out of here. So I'm just gonna go with Margaret.
It's been years since the time of Garvin the Exemplar. It's impressive you knew.
Margaret smiles, lifting her chin into the air. The over-exaggerated action is somehow pleasant rather than belittling. She is so much happier than I had anticipated.
Yes, I do like to stay informed. And you knew too. Good. This lake shouldn't be allowed to swallow even history itself.
My town, the one where I was born at least, was also Garvin's hometown. I was very young when he passed. The entire village went into mourning. People broke down crying in the streets. I'll never forget it. He meant much to everyone who knew him.
Oh, I have no such connections. I merely read about it.
She pauses, seeming to scan the air in front of her for something to say.
I'm sorry for your loss.
It's all right. Thank you.
My town may have taken pride in Garvin the Exemplar and what he achieved, but we weren't the ones who lost the most. That would be his family. We each remained locked inside our own thoughts, not another word passing between us. Eventually, a small light appears on the bridge ahead, gently swaying through the foggy air. It gets closer and closer until it becomes apparent it's a figure carrying a lantern. That must be the guide, although I can't shake the ghostly aura it gives off. The figure steps onto the shore, but we wait for him to approach us instead of going to meet him. None of us are sure how close to the water we can get before it is no longer safe. He stops in front of us and simply stares.
Are you the guide of Sinlos?
The man nods. He has a sharp face and weary eyes.
Well, that's grand. We would like an escort across the lake.
Bammel motions towards the two of us and Margaret approaches, a strange smile on her face.
Hello, it's good to see you again. I'm ready to cross, as we've agreed upon.
The guide turns to face her as well, face remaining unchanged. It must not have been a lie. He would have said something otherwise. She really does have a preference to travel with him. That's the problem.
Is there a way we can all begin the trip tonight?
Yes, I will allow all three of you to go. But with that many, at least one will die before we reach the other side.
I furrow my brow in a disturbing addendum, and one offered with little emotion attached. Bammel glares back, asking without asking, what were we supposed to do with such circumstances?
You should go around.
The sentence hangs in the air, the second half unspoken. If you want to live.
We don't have time for that. There are people counting on us for protection. Why does she need to go?
He jerks a finger at Margaret, whose face contorts with anger.
I don't need to explain myself to you. My journey has already been put off once, and I was promised I could go today. I will be going under any circumstances.
She meets Vamel's eyes where gaze with steel. He starts to speak and she cuts in.
An extra day or two shouldn't be that much of a problem for you. Whoever you're meeting can surely wait such a tiny amount longer. Patience is a virtue after all.
The night is only so long, and if we're still on the bridges when the sun comes up, we'll all die as they sink back below the surface. If you don't decide soon, no one will be going.
The guide is dispassionate, stoic. I would almost feel something's wrong with him if I didn't share the same trait myself. But Mel pulls me to the side, jaw clenched tight.
That woman isn't armed.
His voice is low. He darts a glance at Margaret.
We can easily get her to back off if we make this into an actual fight. After all, we have to go tonight, yes? If one of us really is to die, it'll be her. Would staying be a worse fate than her death?
I stare at the dock, refusing to meet Bamel's eyes. Try to keep my voice as level as possible.
We don't know her situation. This isn't a decision we can make for her.
What?
Bamel leans in closer, apparently having missed what I said. I remove the sympathy for her in my response when I speak again.
The guide won't accept something like that, I assume.
His face is grim.
Then what else do you have in mind?
First of all, you and I cannot split up. Either we both stay, or we both go.
Right. That's not a question.
I cross my arms, a hand on my chin. I have full confidence in my abilities and in Bamel's. There's no reason not to believe the guide knows exactly what he's talking about. If we go, he might not be able to give the group the attention we each deserve. That would mean if we truly would be putting Margaret's life at the risk on top of our own. I'm gonna say we should go.
I believe you.
But Mel's reply is firm. My steadfastness seems almost weak in comparison to its certainty. He addresses the guide.
We shouldn't waste more time. Let's shove off.
The guide slowly turns around without even a nod to show his agreement. Margaret stares at Bamil and me, something of resolve in her gaze. Then she follows after the guide. At least she didn't insist we stay behind.
We should do what we can to protect her. It's our fault she's being put in even further danger.
Exactly my thoughts. We will take care of everything. Maybe I'm being naive, but I have no intentions of letting anyone fall victim to this lake tonight. Those monsters can starve.
He turns to follow the others across. I will protect everyone on the strip. I will. We will make it through this. Then I step onto the dock and join them. So I'm gonna save it there. I'm going to save it there. As I said, I played this game before, so I kind of have an idea of what's going on up to now to a certain point. And excuse the plane in the background if you guys can hear that. But necessarily, that's not to say I might not change my decisions. Overall, I will say this. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for giving me a chance. Hopefully I'll see you in the next episode of Lake of Voices. And I will try to get to you more content as soon as possible. I'm working on a bunch of content right now. And my setup might not be great right now. And neither is my voice, because apparently I can't speak. But I will have more videos for you guys soon. They will be better quality. Trust for a fact. And I'll see all you humans on another day. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And be safe. Stay happy.